All right, everyone, welcome back. Last time we dove into something what I feel is really powerful, and that's the process of building a vision board, which what we talked about was it gives your goals and your dreams a face. And we talked about how the mind needs to see things, the heart needs to feel it, and your actions need to chase it. And some of you took that very seriously. And I had a few of you send me your vision boards. I really, really appreciate getting those. I really enjoyed looking at those and kind of seeing your story and seeing where that you're going. And I'm telling you, they were incredible. A lot of you guys looks like you really spent some time and really know where you want to go. And they were creative, they were bold, emotional, purposeful. So thank you guys for sharing those with me, and the WhatsApp and just letting me have an insight before everyone else. So before I go any further, I want to create a moment so that anybody here that did a vision board, we can share them with the group. And then what I want you to do is, just tell me what you put on there, and then more importantly, why? What's the reason? And so just kind of tell us that story. So is there anybody on here that wants to volunteer to share their vision board with the rest of us, just so we can see those things and other people can see what's on your mind? Are we gonna have any? Okay, awesome. Chad. Wow. Go ahead, my friend. You can share your screen if you have it up. You could share it, and you have the permission to do that.
All right, hang on.
Let me see. I'm gonna make you a
Just sharing it,
co-host.
I turned
Just
on.
yep. Go ahead.
All right, hang
I
on.
made you a co-host.
Let's see, there it is. There.
Okay.
Let's see. Can you see that?
Yep, I can see it.
All right. So this is a 90 days. I haven't done my big one yet because
Okay.
this is my urgency right now. As I told you earlier, we're in the process of building a new house. It's a big house. I mean, we downsized from 3,200 square feet to 2,400 square feet, but the price of building houses today are very expensive. And we chose to build at the most inopportune time in the world, but it is what it is. So you just have to go through life and do it and work your way through it. That's been my belief. So my goal with this is a picture of it. It's almost done. It's in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. But my goal is in 8 years. This is one of my long term 8 years to have this thing paid off, and it's going to be about an $800,000 loan on this house that I want to have paid off in 8 years. And I think that's doable based upon what I see happening in the company. Talking to you, talking to Mike and Sahia, talking to Kyle, and a few other people. So based upon where I want to go in life, and I've already seen network marketing go ballistic and I missed that opportunity. I'm not missing this one. So I think that's tact. And then with that house, unfortunately, we have to furnish it. And there's some things that we can't afford right out of the gate because we're paying for a new house. So we need some furnishing, some couches, some love seats. Kathy wants new ones. We want a new outdoor furniture set that'll be for the future pool. You're sitting there. I want to have the pool started. They wanted 100 grand to do the pool. I didn't have an extra 100 grand laying around right now to commit to a 12 by 24 with a sun deck pool. That's exactly almost what it'll look like. So I plan to have that started and moving in 26. And then after everything's paid and done in 90 days, mortgage payments, everything in my life going on right now, I would like to have a comfortable beginning $5,000 a month in the bank. And I want that coming from LifeWave specifically, not my other job. So
Okay.
that leads me to my screenshot of my of our back office from yesterday. So we made director. I'm having to redo that senior director out to 90 days based upon the growth of the organization. I do have new managers getting ready to come up and pop. Uh, as in yesterday's training call with Kyle and what he kind of led to what the new compensation plan is going to be is I don't have a power leg. I'm not part of a power leg. So I was signed in on the inside of an inside of an inside. And so, Kathy and I have had to build this thing from ground up. So everybody below me is from our efforts, and we're creating our own power leg, both left and right. So that's kind of where we stand. 36, 38. So it's going to grow significantly today. We're just waiting for the paperwork to go in. We're at 74 people in 4 months. I personally sponsored 30. I would like to get that to 100 on each side in 90 days. So that's my 90-day goal at this point. That's what I'm looking for 90 days right now, what I'm targeting.
Okay, I love it. So I'm gonna help on a couple things. Okay,
Okay,
so
please.
the paid off in 8 years on
Yes.
this vision board. What I want to do is I want to narrow that down to 90 days. All right. So if we're gonna pay it off in 8 years, what do we have to do in the next 90 days to be on track to pay it off in 8 years? So whatever that payment is on that house that you're gonna make every single month, the next 90 days, we want to do these just in 90-day increments. So if it's paying an extra 5,000, 6,000, whatever a month on that house, that's what I want you to have on your vision board when we're going to pay towards that. And then the furniture, like what are we going to save each month to be able to get to it? So if the furniture is a year from now, 6 months from now, what are we saving every single month for that furniture to be able to do? So we have a target date for the furniture because obviously we just built a house. I know like we want pool furniture, we want all these things in our house, but we have a plan when we're going to get it exactly. And then that way I can measure and be like, okay, we're off here. I love the 5,000 net per month in the bank, but when is that going to be? So when is that goal? And so is there a goal for the next 90 days?
That's 90 days that's my target for 90 days to be there in 90 days.
Okay, great. Okay, so that's a 90-day target. And then start savings for the new pool in 2026. That's not 90 days,
That's not
right? So
90.
yeah, so that can be on like a big vision board, but what I want you guys to do is get in the 90-day. This is great, Chad. Like the fact that you're spending this time and it's now on your vision board, these things are going to happen. I know after meeting you and talking about your fitness and your nutrition and your scuba business and the commitment to the Life Wave and you getting the vision of this is going to be a big money thing, all these things are going to happen. All I want to do is have them time based. When is the furniture going to happen? When is the pool going to happen? If it's not 90 days, it doesn't go on the 90-day board. Now, what I would do is say, if you're not going to start saving for the pool until 2026 in January, it doesn't go here. We're not focused on that now. I want you focused on 90-day short-term goals of what we're going to do. And right in the middle, that's a good one. 100, like I know you're on the inside of an inside leg, but 100 people, I mean, what you guys have accomplished already, Chad, is pretty big on your own. Like that amount of people that you have recruited is really, really substantial. And so
Yeah.
we have to celebrate that. And I think that being right in the middle, because that's going to probably feed your furniture, feed your pool, feed your savings plan. Like I love that plan being that LifeWave is going to kind of feed all these goals. But the only thing
Right.
I would do is just narrow it down a little further into what am I doing exactly in the next 90 days to get the furniture. So what's the cost of the furniture that you guys want? What's the cost of the outdoor furniture? And then per month, what do I want to save? Now it might be, it's a 6 month goal, but I'm going to start saving now. And it could be I'm going to start saving $1,000 a month towards furniture. And then I'm
Right.
at, so that's what, and so this is very, very good. I just want you to just dial it down a little bit more so that you guys know exactly what you're doing. And I know based on the conversation we had in Punta Mita, this is outside of your normal thing. So I'm glad that you're even getting here. But
Yeah.
you and your wife being on the same page, this is a map. Like I know what your vision is clearly, right? Right now. And this is the thing. Chad's vision is different than everyone else's vision because this is where Chad is in his life right now, right? This is where, so nothing has to match anybody. This is what him and his wife want to do next 90 days, next year, next 2 years. And that's perfect because that's how we get where we want to go. Chad, excellent, excellent job. And thank you for being the first to share. I was so surprised when you raised your hand. You are so engaged in this. Man, I love being in this business with you and being around you. When I met you, you were one of the lights at the event. So thank you to you and your wife for
Thanks,
that
man.
and
Appreciate it.
being here.
All right.
Anybody else want to share real quick? Shannon, I'm looking at you. No, no Shannon, Jessica, Vince, Raquel, nobody else. We have no takers. Chad, you were the only brave one. Okay, listen, next week. the next class, I want to start off again, and I want to see your guys' vision boards, right? This is really, really important to go through this practice. I promise you, this is on my desktop, it's on my computer, it's something I live into, and it's how I've hit my goals my entire life. It takes a little bit of time, but just do what Chad did, do the work, and then you know exactly where you're going. Okay. So, um, what I wanted to talk about something today that's really, really important. There's three things that I want to talk about today. I want to talk about a victim mentality. I want to talk about expectations, and I want to talk about fear. And the reason I want to talk about this today is because now that we've gotten into all the topics that we've gotten into, I want to talk about all the roadblocks, the things in our mind that are going to keep us from actually going and getting the things that we want and that voice in our head. And the first thing that I want to talk about is, you know, is the victim mentality. But before I do that, what I want to say about these vision boards is what's really important when you create them, and this just popped into my head because you guys aren't sharing them, is, the secret behind creating a vision board is you have to share it. The secret is sharing it, not hiding it. If you hide it, and then it's not going to happen, right? Everyone in your household needs to know what's going on. You weren't given a vision to keep it a secret. You weren't given a vision. You were given this vision, or you created this vision to speak it, to share it, to live it out loud. So I want to challenge you guys, when you do create these vision boards, show your friends and your family. I'm telling you, like every time I show people my vision board or they see it in my house, they're always intrigued, and it's a topic that we talk about. And they're like, man, I've never done that before. So I want to challenge you guys to share that. I want you to share with your friends, your family, your team. More importantly, your team. Sit down with them and say, hey, this is what I want to accomplish over the next 90 days. So just make sure you do that. It's not for their approval, you guys, but it's for your accountability, because the more you speak it, the more it becomes real in your head. It becomes attainable. So we cannot carry out a bold vision if we're holding on to what I was talking about with that victim mentality. And I know that's such a negative word, but it's such a true word that so many people carry around. So many people that I've come into their life and just, have had to be bold enough to call this out. And, being a coach, being a mentor, and wanting to help people, sometimes you have to lead with love, and love is truth. It's not lying to people. It's not being false to people. And a victim mentality and success and vision and all that, they cannot coexist. It can't be in the same space. So if you're serious about chasing this vision, we've got to talk about what's standing in the way for a lot of us. And I've had this victim mentality. When I was younger playing sports and I didn't make the team, or I got cut, or I wasn't starting, I had this victim mentality all the time, and it held me back. And when you have a victim mindset, I'm telling you right now, there's nothing you're going to be able to accomplish that you were made to accomplish. So let's talk about something that's silently killing and stealing your dreams, destroying your momentum, and keeping millions of people stuck right where you are. And that is that victim mentality. You know what I'm talking about. We talked about this already. That inner voice that we've already discussed that whispers to you constantly, why is this happening to me? It's not my fault. I can't do anything because of them, that, this, all these excuses that we make because someone else is keeping us from getting something. And I'm going to be blunt with you guys. That voice is a liar. It's lying to you. The victim mentality is one of the most dangerous mental traps that you could ever fall into. Because while you might be justified in feeling hurt, while you might have been done wrong by someone, you think, while life might have been unfair to you, which has been unfair to all of us, that mentality keeps you chained to the past. It keeps you powerless in the present moment right now. And it blinds you to the future because you're so focused on what happened or what didn't happen for you. And here's the truth that most people won't tell you. I know this 6 weeks we've been together, I've been speaking truth, and probably some of you think, man, you're set up, you have this great life. I'm telling you guys, I'm speaking from experience. Nothing was ever handed to me in my life. I should not be sitting in the life that I'm sitting in right now, besides I made a decision. You cannot be a victim and a victor at the same time. It's not going to happen. You're not going to see victory in your life if you have a victim mentality. You got to choose. Am I going to be a victor or am I going to be a victim? Now, don't get me wrong. I am not dismissing by any stretch of the imagination pain, trauma, or setbacks. My family's had them, my wife's had them, my friends have had them. I understand that they do exist. And I've had my fair share. Trust me, living in a car, being homeless was not a fun experience for me. It wasn't. Being broke, being bankrupt, losing everything that I had because I was young and made dumb decisions. It sucked. It was a massive setback. And maybe you guys have had yours. But the difference between acknowledging what happening to you and letting it define you, victims focus on blame. Victors focus on solutions. Victims stay stuck in the story that happened to them. Victors write a new chapter in their life. Victims say, I can't. I hate that word, I can't. When I hear my daughter say, I can't, or I will try, it's immediate triggers for me. And I immediately say, what did you say? And she's like, no, I mean, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And I was like, no, I think I heard you say can't, or I think I heard you say try. Remember, we're not allowed to say those words in our household. She's like, you're right, Poppy. Like I'm teaching her golf right now, and we're improving her swing, and we're doing things. And today we're out on the golf course. This morning, she asked me. She's been sick with the flu. She asked me last night. She's like, Poppy, can we go early to practice? And we go out there, and I'm working on some new things with her today. And I'm telling her what she has to do with her hands, and she said, I can't. And I was like, what? And she's just like, no, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean I can't. I'm just having a hard time with it. I'm like, that's okay. Let's work through it. So when victims say I can't, what victors do, and I want you to think about this when you hear this language come out of your mouth, they say, how can I? How can I make that happen? And that's the difference, right? We've talked about language. We talked about language in the first class. Language is what gives everything meaning. And whatever you put out into the universe, whatever you say to yourself, you are exactly right. Life is empty and meaningless except for the meaning that you give it. And we all give life the wrong meaning most of the time because we live in this victim mentality space. If you're constantly blaming your parents, you're blaming your boss, the economy, your ex, the president, background, your lack of connections, guess what? What you're doing is you're giving all of your power away because none of that is true. As long as you keep pointing fingers outward, you're never, ever, I promise you, you're never going to grow inward. And here's the shift. These are the questions you should be asking yourself. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Because everything changes the moment you take 100% responsibility for your life. Not 98, not 99, but 100% responsibility for everything that's happening for you. Responsibility doesn't mean you caused everything. It means you chose to own your response to every single thing. That's power. That's freedom. That's how change begins in your life. So how do you break the victim mindset? And a lot of you say, I don't have a victim mindset. Trust me, we all have it. I still have it from time to time. I have to catch myself all the time. I had a flu all last week. You don't think in my head, I'm like, why me? Why do I have to be in bed for a week? Like, why do I deserve this? Those are the questions we have in your head. And then I had to become okay with the fact that I was sick. And I just started thinking, you know what? Gives me such a great appreciation for my health. And I want to focus on that even more. And I want to focus on the gratitude of feeling amazing every single day because we start to take it for granted. And when you live in gratitude, man, life every single day is a lot better. So how we break that victim mindset is step one, awareness. Catch the language. I can't. I'll try. I never get a break. They always do this. Replace it with, I'm figuring this out. I'm learning. I'm growing through this. And then step two, you got to take ownership. Stop waiting to be rescued. Because just like we talked about last week at the end, you're not broken. You're being built every single day. Every challenge is an invitation to rise, not retreat. You know, I think about my house that I've built, the office that I'm sitting in. For 9 months, I woke up every single day. Man, I can't wait till it can get done so I can have peace in my house. I can have quiet, I can read, I can meditate, I can get my work done without the girls screaming or crying or doing whatever. And going through that process, it just made me think about my life. Every time I got closer and every time the little finishes happened, I related it to the way I'm growing as a human being. You're never done. Your house is always going to be having work done on it. You're always going to be working on yourself, always. And step three, action. You got to take action. That's what we talked about for 6 weeks. Clarity comes from movement. Start doing something towards your goals. Just like I talked to Chad. What are we going to do in the next 90 days to get towards that furniture? What is the exact plan? What are we going to do in the next 90 days to get to those 100? Because now we have a goal. He's got 36, 37. I want 100 on each side of my organization. Okay. So that means I got 65 and 63 people I need to get. So that how many people each month in the next 90 days am I going to get? Well, how many people got to talk to get to that number? Because it's great to write down and have a vision. But now we got to have a plan. And we talked about the GPS and the GPA. You got to have a plan to get there. How many people do I need to talk to? And then if you don't execute the plan, then we know why we lost. And then we know what we got to do the next 90 days to get there. So when you take action, you guys, you generate momentum. And when you generate momentum, you build this belief. Momentum is a belief builder. And what belief does is it shatters that victimhood. And I'll leave you with this. Your past may have shaped you, but it does not, by any stretch of the imagination, define you. Your struggle is real. But this is what I would tell you is also real, your strength. And you got to decide, is the struggle stronger than you? Or is your strength stronger than the struggle? You're not powerless. You're not stuck, and you're never too far gone. I don't care what's happened, where your life has been. It doesn't matter. Today is a different day. Tomorrow is a different day. The next day is a different day. I could have given up a long time ago, you guys. But I decided I wasn't going to ever give up, because if I was going to give up on my dreams, then I was never going to be in the place that I always dreamed of being, even when I was a young child. I mean, think about it when you're a young child. You ask your kids what they want to be, and they believe that they can be that. My daughter wants to be a professional golfer. The doctor the other day asked her, what do you want to do when you grow up? She says, I want to be a professional golfer. She truly believes that she's going to be a professional golfer. And you know what? She probably will be, because her belief is so strong. And also her action is so strong. I don't ask her to go practice every day. She asks me. So the moment you stop playing the victim, I promise you, the moment your life begins. And I know this victim where you're like, I'm not a victim. I don't act like I'm a victim. I just want you to just go with it and see sometimes if you're in full control of your life, or if you're blaming the reason you're not successful on a lot of other reasons. It could be people, it could be reasons, it could be excuses. That's victimhood. So the question is, are you ready to stop telling the story of what happened to you and start becoming the story of what's possible through you? Because everyone on here I know is a leader. And if you're leading, you have to start becoming that story so that people can follow you. All this training that we're doing, I'm hoping you take some of it and redistribute and give it to other people so that they can also become the leader that they need to be. Because that's what's really going to grow this company. This is what's going to grow your life. That's what's going to give you freedom. Because that version of you is the one who takes ownership, going to take action, who's going to take your power back. And that's the version that the world needs. That's the version that your team needs. That's the version your husband needs, your kids need, your friends need. You need to be the leader in that, where they're like, what in the world happened to this person? And you're going to say, listen, I woke up. I realize I have complete control. And that's the version you were born to be. So now that we've talked about the victim mentality, there's another thing I want to dive into. And this is, I'm going to ask you guys a question. So you can put in the chat, you can unmute, you're able to unmute yourself. I want you to answer these two questions. And I want to see it in the chat because I want to see who has this right. And this is one thing that I promise you of this training that we're doing that can transform your relationships. It can transform your life on levels that you never thought possible. This is something that I discovered, oh God, 2009. I went to a session and realized that I lived with a lot of expectations in my life. And that's the question I have for you. There's two people in your life, and Raquel, you've heard this before, so you're not allowed to answer it. Well, you can answer if you want to. There's two people in your life that you can have expectations from. Who are they? Put it in the chat who you think you can have expectations from in your life. People you pay and yourself, myself and those I pay. Good, you guys have paid attention. So that is very true. Okay. There's only two people you can have expectations from. And that is people that you pay money, because when you pay someone money, that's a contract. If I have an employee that I pay money every single month, I can have expectations of that person because I'm paying them. If I go to a restaurant and I pay $40 for a filet mignon, I can have an expectation because I could go to a Whole Foods and buy it for 10 and cook it myself. But I want it to be cooked the way I like. I want to be served with a smile. I want to be served in a timely manner. If someone's washing my car, I'm paying them money to wash my car. I can expect for my car to be washed correctly, or cleaning my house, or mowing my yard. And the other person is yourself. And that is it. Nobody else. You can't have expectations of your wife. You can't have expectations of your kids. You can't have expectations of your friends. You can't have expectations of your upline. Your upline doesn't pay you money. You can't have expectations of your downline. Your downline doesn't pay you money. Your spouse doesn't pay you to be with them. If they do, it's a weird relationship. I mean, maybe they pay you, but I don't want to have to pay my spouse for her to be with me. So why are you stacking silent expectations on them like they owe you something? Let me tell you where expectations actually live in our minds. Most of the time, they're unspoken. They're not agreements. They're not commitments. They're not assumptions. Now, listen, when you take a vow to get married, of course, you can expect for your spouse not to cheat on you, right? But you can't expect for your spouse to be in a good mood every single day. My spouse was definitely not in a good mood every single day before we got married. I wasn't in a good mood every single day before we got married. We have 1,000 things going on in our life and separate lives. Like, things are going to happen, right? So you can't have expectations of people. You can't expect for your spouse to read your mind unless you're psychic. If you're psychic, then you would win the lottery and you would win a lot of money and you wouldn't have to worry about anything in life because you would just know everything. But these expectations are assumptions, and assumptions are emotional time bombs. This is the crazy thing. You ever notice how we get mad when someone doesn't meet our silent expectations? Like, let's just say you come home from a hard day at work, you're not super affectionate, you walk in the house, you're not talkative, you got a lot on your mind. Maybe you forgot to kiss your wife. Maybe you forgot to get dinner. Maybe things are going on in your life and someone's mad at you and you didn't talk about anything. And you actually get mad because someone didn't think the same thing that you thought when you thought it at that time. We feel let down. We start resenting people. We pull back. We start spiraling and making assumptions and creating these stories that aren't there. But here's the wildest part about this. Science tells us that we have over 44,000 subconscious thoughts every single day. 44,000 subconscious thoughts. Monica Velez is driving right now in a car. You know how many subconscious thoughts you have? You see a building, you see a car, you see someone walking down the road, you see a homeless person, you see the blue sky, you see rain starting to hit your windshield. Like all these things are just clicking in your brain constantly. And then we start going down these spirals and start thinking about all these things. The chances of you thinking the exact same thought at the exact same time as a friend, your spouse, a teammate is actually astronomical. And that's why when it does happen, we're like, oh my God, I was thinking the same thing when you were thinking the same thing. And we freak out because it's so rare. So why are we so shocked when other people don't read our minds? When we barely know what we're thinking half the time? Here's the real kicker. And this might sting a bit, but it's the truth with love. We get mad, even furious, when people don't live up to our expectations that they didn't even know that they were supposed to meet or that we had on our mind when we had it on our mind in that moment. But when we break promises that we make to ourselves day after day, week after week, we don't get upset. We don't hold ourselves accountable. We shrug it off because no one knows. It was something in our head that we made a commitment to ourselves. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get better in better shape. I'm going to stop eating sugar. I'm going to stop eating carbs. I'm going to spend more time with my wife. I'm going to spend more time with my kids off the phone, whatever it is. And we don't get as upset at ourselves. It's crazy. You'll get more upset with someone that's 5 minutes late or that's not thinking what you're thinking in that moment because of the day you had or the day that they had than you do with yourself for breaking a dream that you said mattered to you. And this is why I always tell people, tell everyone what you're committed to, why you're committed to it. Because this is the thing, you guys, we all have gigantic egos. And we're more likely to keep a promise if other people know about it. We'll go the extra mile not to let people down, even if we've gotten used to letting ourselves down. If we include other people, our ego is the tool that we can leverage so that we can make sure over the last 6 weeks, what we talked about doing, the morning routine, the night routine, our why, our success snowflake, our vision boards, all the things that you want to improve in your life, leverage it and tell people what you're going to do. Create that board that Chad created, share it with his wife so they know, hey, this is the plan. We're on the same page. Let's use it as a tool for integrity. Let's use it as a tool for accountability. Let's use it to build confidence. Because the moment you let go of expectations that you have of other people and put all of that energy into the promises you make to yourself every single day, this is the moment you guys will step into peace. That's the moment your relationships will start to thrive. Trust me, if you let go of expectations of your friends, your family, your spouse, your kids, people that have older kids. I have a 20-year-old son. I have a 32-year-old daughter. They used to let me down every single day because I had this expectation of them to always answer the phone and always love me like I love them. But that's when people feel safe. They feel seen. And they feel loved around you when you release the expectations. And you'll feel strong. You'll feel consistent. You'll feel whole within yourself. I promise you, if you guys do this work on the expectations, because expectations is the birthplace of frustration. But I will tell you, owning your own expectations of yourself and your dreams and your promises, that will create freedom. Because this is a mindset game. Everything that I've talked to you guys about in 6 weeks, everything, success, failure, building a business, building a family, everything is right here in how we manage it. And it's the most important game that you'll ever play because you're playing the game with yourself. You think you're playing it with other people, but this game is being played with yourself every single day. So don't be mad when someone doesn't meet an expectation that you never communicated, or don't have expectations of people doing things, because this is the thing. Expectations, listen to me, expectations are control. I would rather someone do something because they want to do it, not because I want them to do it. It feels way better when my wife does things because she wants to do it for me versus she does it for me because she knows it's an expectation that I have of her. It feels way different. But start being mad when you don't meet your promise you clearly made to yourself. Start putting that energy into yourself, but don't stay mad. I want you guys to do something about it. Let that fire fuel your discipline. Let that standard shape your identity. Because when you lose the need to control others and gain the power to control yourself, you will win every single solitary time. So now I'm off my soapbox with expectations. The other silent destroyer in your life is fear. And fear is one of the most powerful, invisible forces in this world. And if you don't learn how to master it, fear will master you. So let's define what fear really is. And I talked about this in Destin. Fear is the false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real, meaning there's nothing saying that it's going to happen, but it feels real. It looks real. But most of the time, it's smoke, it's an illusion, and it's a lie disguised as logic. Did you guys know that 99% of the things we fear never, ever happen? Think about that. We live in anxiety, stress, paralysis over things that haven't happened, may never, ever happen, and probably will never, ever happen. And why is that? Because fear is future based. It can't live in the present moment. It lives in the what if. What if I fail? What if they reject me? What if they make fun of me on social media because I said or ah? What if it doesn't work? What if I tell my family I'm building this business and then it just doesn't work or it doesn't go as fast as I think it's going to go? But let me ask you this. What if it does? What if the fear that you're feeding is actually blocking the future that you were built for? What if it's in the way? Here's the crazy part. Most people don't fail because they tried and failed and lost. They fail because they never started. Fear is the number one destroyer of all dreams, not lack of talent, not lack of time, and surely not lack of resources. It's all fear because fear is a controller. And whether we want to admit it or not, there are entire systems built out there, institutions, governments that thrive on people living in fear. Because a fearful population is an obedient population. A fearful person, they don't take risks. A fearful person, they don't speak up. They don't use their voice because they're afraid of being criticized or blackballed. A fearful person, they don't move. They don't dream. That's why fear is pushed constantly in our media. That's why uncertainty is broadcasted 24/7. Because if you're afraid, you're easier to control. Right now, all the stuff about airlines and flights and crashes and all this stuff on media. We've had 60% less air accidents this year than we did last year. But for some reason, our media doesn't want us to travel. Why? I don't know. You guys tell me if you could figure it out. But I will tell you, that they're trying to make us live in fear. But I'm here to remind you, we were not created to be controlled. We were created to lead, to create, to build, to expand, and grow into better and better people. You know, media also would have you think that the world that we live in is so much worse than it used to be, and that there's so much divide in the world, and there's so much hatred in the world. But if you go back 2,000, 1,000, 500, 100 years, it was way worse in our world than it is now. But the media wants us to think it's a lot worse and it's a lot less safe. And it's not true. Fear has no place in any equation in our life. So, how do you overcome fear? You move. Action is the antidote to fear. Fear wants you frozen. Courage doesn't mean you don't have fear. I'm not saying if you move, you're going to remove all the fear out of your body. That's unrealistic. But what it does mean is you move and act in despite of it. If you want to kill fear, take massive, messy, relentless action towards the thing you're afraid of. Is it going to be smooth? Absolutely not. Is it going to be messy most of the time? Yep. Messy doesn't feel good, but messy gets you places. Talk to that person that you've been wanting to talk to. Make the call. Start the business. Send a message to somebody that you've been wanting to send. Record and post a video that you've been like, oh, I'm just not good at this. Take action, because once you move, fear loses its grip on you. You're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. That wasn't so hard. That's how you're going to overcome fear in your life. So today we started talking about your vision, giving your goals a face, owning your dreams, sharing them boldly. And we talked about victim mentality, how it strips away your power and how you shift to ownership changes everything. When you own it, it changes everything. Expectations, releasing what you place on others and anchoring it into promises you make to yourself. Release those expectations, because expectations just creates negative energy. And then we pulled back the curtain of fear, the invisible wall that's keeping all of us, we all have fear. I don't care who you are, how successful you are, every single person has fear. It's just how you manage it. And what I'm trying to teach you guys is the main ingredient that you guys need in these 6 weeks to implement and execute on these 10 things in the 90 days is massive aligned action. Not someday, not when you're ready, not when it's perfect, right now. Because once you align your vision, live by your values, master your mind, and move through fear, what's going to happen is you will become unshakable. Your energy is going to shift. You guys, everything in this life is about energy and vibration. And what affects energy and vibration is mindset. If your mindset's off, you can't have the right energy. And then when you go to talk to someone about this business or anything that you're doing in your life, you're not going to have the right energy because the mindset is not there to create that energy. And once you have that right energy, your momentum will start to build. And then what's going to happen, you guys, you're going to come up to me a year from now when we have our next event, and your confidence is going to explode. And then your world is going to start to open up in ways that you never imagined. So decide right now that you're going to live large. You're going to stop living small. You're going to stop being controlled by expectations, by fear. And most importantly, that you're done breaking promises to yourself. And you're done waiting, because this is your time. This is your season and this is your life. And the longer you wait to get this life going, the longer it's going to take you to get where you want to go. And then you're going to continue to say, oh, I'm just not meant for this. I'm not built for this. So take the wheel of your life, take the risk, take the action. And I promise you that the future will meet you on the other side of your courage. It really will. But you got to take the wheel. You got to take the risk. You got to take the action every single day. So, what I'd like to do real quick before I wrap up is I would love to know if a couple of you are brave enough to share some fears that you have that maybe I can help you squash. And I could talk you through them because I assure you I've had the same fears. So, is anybody brave enough to want to share any fears that they have? This is supposed to be an interactive thing. So,
Me,
tell me, Tina.
me.
Yes.
I mean, not to the business, but I have a fear of driving on highways,
Okay. Why?
of getting in a high-speed accident.
Why?
What could happen?
Why?
I don't know. It came out of nowhere.
Okay.
I used to drive. I was a single mom, raised my girls for 20 years by myself, drove us to South Florida, to Atlanta, to wherever, and out of nowhere it came. And I also have a fear of other people, of being in the car with other people who are driving. So it's very limited on the people I can ride with.
Um, I definitely can understand that because I like to be in control. I don't like anybody to drive any car. I like to be in control. So I can understand that fear. That's a control thing, especially with a car. The highway thing is also a control thing because you're afraid of what other people are going to do. But again, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Okay. Those
And I don't know if
fears.
this is what kind of question you wanted, but
No, 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 no. What I was going to say is my wife has fears. She has fears of elevators. She has fears of like, but and you know, and sometimes they're just not rational. Like a lot of the fears that I'm talking about today are fears of taking steps and creating success in your life and doing the things. The
right.
fears about driving, the reason I say why, because when I talk to my wife about her fear of elevators, I said, so how many people have ever died in an elevator? Like, how many accidents have you heard of people dying in an elevator? You know, we Googled it. No one has ever died in an elevator, right? And so I'm like, what's the fear? You know, and her fear is that the elevator won't open. And I'm like, okay, so if the elevator doesn't open, what's going to happen?
Hmm.
You know, and so it's kind of working through that. And, you know, and now like this fear of what's going on with airplanes, and, you know, she has this fear of flying now. And I'm just like, okay, do you understand that, you know, you could go to the grocery store 5 minutes from the house and someone could T-bone you, and there's more likelihood of that happening than a plane crash dying. So, you know, again, I don't know, Tina, as far as in why the car thing and what's happened and why you have that fear, if it's seeing stuff on television or, um, and again, my fears are really generally around, you know, making moves to be successful. But I would talk to somebody about it, and
Oh,
figure out how
I've
and
done,
what have they said? Because I'm interested.
well, I've done hypnotherapy. I've seen doctors who want to put me on medication. I won't do any of that. I've
That's
tried
good.
so many different modalities to try to help. I will say it's gotten better. But it is, and I try baby steps. I try to practice my muscle, like going to the gym. I've gone and driven one exit on I-4 and then got off at the next exit, just to see if I can practice the muscle of bravery of doing it. And I have, but I haven't done like I haven't driven to Tampa or Miami or anywhere myself. I actually have a job in South Florida that I can't drive myself to the own job site to go see the house. So I have to have someone drive me.
And but then you have the control thing of someone else driving you.
Um, yeah. I mean, my daughter, who's going to be 30 this year, she's probably the worst that gets like, she won't take into consideration that her mom has this fear. So that's probably the worst. But
Yeah, because
I,
no one can understand it, right? And so
oh,
the only thing
no.
that I would say is the things that I fear, Tina, I always face them. This is just me. I'm going to just give you my experience because
Yeah.
I've had fears of a lot of different things. Water is a fear that I've had. And I just had to, I wasn't a great swimmer. I don't float. Like I've tried to go get lessons and the instructor that I worked with for 3 months was just like, you have no buoyancy whatsoever. Like your body doesn't float. So the work that I have to do to stay above water, but I
Mm.
still like, I went scuba diving, like going underwater to face that fear because
Wow.
I wanted to overcome that. And so for me, like in my life, one of the things I've read books on dying, and I don't fear dying anymore because of, there's nothing I can do about it, right? We have no idea when we're going to die. So to be thinking about the death and to be thinking about the worst case scenarios, like I've just
Mhm.
had to face those things. I used to think about it all the time. I was worried about cancer. I was worried about all these types of things when I was younger.
Mhm.
So I mean, I'm not saying that I was perfect. I had a lot of these issues that I had to
Mhm.
deal with. And the only way that my mentors were like, just face it. And so like I almost drowned. And then I went on this trip and my mentor was like, you know, we're going scuba diving. And I was like, well, you guys go have fun. I am not going scuba diving. Like I have never been scuba. No, no, we'll get you certified at this. We'll go get a pool for an hour and we'll certify you. And I'm like, I don't know that an hour certification in a pool is really going to make me feel like I'm, can go down, you know, 20 or 30 meters underwater. But I don't, I've never breathe. So
Right.
again, and again, I'm not a psychiatrist, Tina. Why I will just tell you
Right.
that whenever I fear things in my life, I just go after them until I break that fear. And again, you're working on the hypnotization and all that. So I appreciate you sharing because that right there, you sharing a fear. That's why I do this exercise because most people are so fearful to share fear because of public humiliation or people
Yeah.
looking at them a certain way. So the fact that you just did that is an amazing thing.
Thank
And
you.
putting that out into the universe and speaking about it, saying you're working on it, this is the type of stuff I'm talking about, you guys, right here. Because some people don't share because they're fearful of speaking,
Mhm.
that people are going to judge me, and that's the ego, right? The ego speaks
Mhm.
very, very loud where it doesn't allow people to speak because they're afraid to be judged. So Tina, thank you for sharing that.
Well, thank you.
Angie, Shannon, I will get to you because I've been wanting you to talk because I have felt your energy through the whole call. So uh Angie,
Hi,
hello
my
Angie.
little fear is moving from the city to another state
Okay.
because I'm doing that this year and I'm a little like afraid because all my life I've been here in New York City and moving to another state I'm a little afraid. That's I think because I have two kids and we already used to this fires here.
Yeah, so Angie, do you know what you fear?
Yeah, if I'm gonna like it because I
You
don't like to drive, and you
yeah,
have
so
to drive at the
so you fear the unknown.
yes.
And so fear lives in the future. So it's not going to be as bad as it is. And this is the thing, we all have control of our life. If we don't like something, we have the control of going back to it. So just embrace it. Change is always good, right? Change is always a great thing because it's a test in your life to push you to a different place. So like instead of fearing it, just embrace it and say, you know what? Hey, let's give this a try. Worst situation is in a year, 2 years, 3 years. It's not forever. Nothing, no decision in life is ever forever, right? So different experiences in life, what they will make you do, Angie, is grow, right? So if you go somewhere and you don't like it, I don't like it, right? I've lived a lot
Yeah,
of different places. I know I love Miami, Florida, and I've lived in many, many places that I didn't like, and I know I don't like them now.
yeah, but I don't want to come back. Like that's the fear. Like I want to go and keep moving forward, not to come back to the city. Like I really feel like I just need a change, but I don't want to come back what I already been at.
But and again, it's up to you, Angie. So getting rid of that, what all I want you to do is just remove a fear of the future. When you go there, you're going to see if you like it or not. And if you don't like it, then you make another move. Then you make another move until you find what you like. But embrace the journey and say, this is going to be fun, right? Unknown is a lot of times scary to human beings, right? I mean, we like the known. We like knowing exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. So I would just say embrace it, Angie, and make the best out of it and see where it goes.
All right, thank you.
You're so welcome. Shannon,
unmute. Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Okay, so mine is like a little bit complex, and because we're at the hour, you don't have to answer the whole
I'm gonna
complexity of it.
listen. This is the most important part of the training. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go. If I have to go over a little bit, it's worth me paying and
Okay.
going over a little bit because this is really really important.
Okay, so I have a fear of offending or losing someone in my life because I'm striving to be successful.
Wow.
But it's a true story
I,
because when you spend time on the things that you need to do to be successful and someone feels like you're going to be better than them, then they bring you down, and then your love for them, you want not to bring them down. And then even like adult children, they're like, you spend too much time doing this when you should be doing this, because they've already put me in a box that I've been in a box for like 35 years. And to get out of that box without upsetting them and losing them is tough. Does that make sense?
it makes perfect sense, Shannon.
So I'm going to lose people, and I don't want to lose anybody, but then I don't want to be who I was.
So Shannon, where you're at right now is you are a prisoner
I
to other
know.
people, and you can't be. So this is the thing. If people love you and they want to be in your life, then they're going to accept the version of you that you grow to be. And if they're not the right person in your life. So you have to accept the fact that they might not be the right person in your life. If you're living your life based on what they want and their needs and what drives them, they're going to come around. You're not going to lose them because you're building a life that you want of your dreams. If you do lose them, like, listen, this is a tough thing because we all are attached. Like I have a lot of friends in college, the Air Force, different jobs, being bosses, like, and what I've seen in my life is evolution. And there's still a lot of people that I'm friends with, but there's people that maybe I contact once a year or maybe once every other year that I'm in contact with. And I still love them, but they're just not people that are in my life every day. And so we have, as human beings, we have these attachment issues, okay, that we're attached to people that are going to judge us or not be a true friend to us. And as I've evolved and I've gotten older, I want to be around people that accept Jay Adkins for who Jay Adkins is because I know that I like Jay Adkins. I didn't used to like Jay Adkins, because I tried to be a version for everybody else that was going to appease every single other person. So your fear of losing them, you have to let that go because they're going to see your strength and they're going to see your power and they're going to be like, whoa, like now I want to be around this person more. So you have to be the example to those people and stay consistent, steady, and disciplined so that when they're questioning you, they need to understand, yeah, I'm working a lot, but this is why. So that's why you got to express to them, this is why I'm doing this. This is my vision. This is where I'm going. And most people, what they're going to do, they're going to follow you. So I will tell you a quick story. My wife, when I started going through this transformation, my wife told me I was crazy. I was obsessed, that she didn't understand that I was going too deep, too far on certain things in my life. My wife is my twin. Literally, she doesn't question anything that I do now. If I'm doing something, there's a meditation course that I want to go to that's a week long. And you're literally 12, 14 hours a day. My friend went to this, said it changed his entire life. If I would have told my wife this 7 years ago that I want to go to this thing, she would have been like, you're crazy. I'm
Mhm.
not going. I'm not spending my time with that. I told her, I said, listen, my best friend told me this is something that I should do. It's transformational. And she just said, when are we going? So that's what you'll find in your life. Your kids, your friends, they will start to follow you because they're like, oh, I see Shannon is a different person. And so you have to, does it make you happy to feel like you're disappointing people?
No,
Right.
it's
So
horrible. It's
does it
horrible, actually.
does it make you happy when you disappoint you?
No, that's worse. And I get that. But say for fun, go back to your story and say, what if your wife said, Jay, if you keep doing what you're doing, I'm gone. I'm out of here.
Then
But
that
you
would have
love
been
her.
that would I do love her, but that would have been her decision.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
That's not my decision. Because when you're married and you're in love, it's supposed to be unconditional,
Hmm.
right? I wasn't out in the bars. I wasn't out drinking. I wasn't out, with women. I'm working on myself
Right.
personally to make myself a better version. So if you have a problem with that, then we're not growing together, we're growing apart. And if your decision is to go over here because you can't handle that I'm working on me, or you can't handle that I want to have success, or we don't have the same dreams and goals, like that has to be their decision. Would I want her to make that decision? Absolutely not. But what's worse, letting yourself down or letting someone else down? You're letting
Yeah.
someone else down is not going to benefit you in any way whatsoever. So you just have to, but again, all of this, you guys, is all about communication. It's communicating to the people that you're letting down. If they're open to hear it, that's great. If they're not, you cannot let people take you where off of where you want to go. And that's the problem, Shannon, with most people. It's about who you're surrounded with, that you share your ideas and they're like, whatever, you're crazy. You don't need to do that. You shouldn't have to do this. And you're not strong enough to say, no, no, no. Listen, I don't think you understand. This is what I am going to do with that definitive mentality, personality, and ability to be able to do it and then execute. And then when they see that, they're going to be like, now, if it makes them uncomfortable, why would it make them uncomfortable?
Well, because it would demean what they have done their whole life. So like let's go to a
What is that? What
spouse.
is that? What does that have to do with you, Shannon?
Oh, well, it would make me not be thankful for the life I have. It would not be like it would take away the value that I had for so long because I'm being something different.
No, it would
Anyways,
not. No, it's called evolution, Shannon.
I know,
You've
but some people
evolved.
can't handle evolution, and some people don't want you to change. Some people don't want you to be outside of what they perceive you to be. And if you do, then you can lose somebody that you really love. It doesn't have to be a spouse, it could be your adult children because they have expectations or whatever. I'm not talking about a friend. You can friends come and go. I'm old enough to know that. But I'm talking about people that are like, oh, well, I don't really want to live a life without you, or I don't really want you to not be in my life because but this is something I really want to do. And then when it happens, you're like, oh, oh, wow, I just lost somebody that I really, really care about. And then like, oh, is this worth it? Because then, like you're struggling hard to like be successful and it doesn't happen overnight. And then you're like, whoa, well, how long do I want to do this for? And what if I'm not successful? And they're like, told you so, but you lost somebody along the way, you know?
But
It's a
if
tough one.
if you lost someone, Shannon, over you trying to improve your life, even if it's a kid or even as someone, your job for your children is to be the best example of what you
Yeah.
want them to end up being, right? And sometimes if they are under 25 years old and they're an adolescent, their brain is not equipped to handle where you are at 40 years old or 45 years old or 42 years old. And you have to take that into consideration. Right. The only thing you can do is you're not going out and being a raging alcoholic, drug addict. Like
No.
you're trying to be a good person, for what you want to do in your life. And I just know that your children might, I have a 31-year-old daughter that I've been on a roller coaster relationship with her, right? I
Yeah.
know at some point she is going to come around. She is blood. I know I can lay my head down at night and know that I've provided the life, the coaching, the mentorship from a loving place in my life. So I go to sleep very good at night, knowing that one
Mhm.
day she'll wake up and she's going to be like, when she has her own kids, I tell my daughter this all the time. And this is the thing with kids, and I'm gonna move on to someone else. I tell my daughter every night we go to bed, I love you more than you will ever know. And she was like, what do you mean by that? And I'm like, the only time that you will know how much I love you is when you have your own kids. Then you'll understand. But until you have your own children, you have no idea. And this is the thing. We love our kids way more than they will ever love us. And we expect for them to love us the same. And they will never love you the same that you love them ever. And so this feeling that you have for your kids is a very normal, natural thing because you love your kids unconditionally and you would do anything for them, even sacrifice your own life or your own success
Mhm.
to make them happy. But that's not what we should do. That's a vicious cycle that's never going to go anywhere. And you have to stop that cycle. You have to stop the cycle of saying, hey, I'm going to be the example and I'm doing this for me. I've
Okay.
always done for you. And now I'm doing this for me. And that's it. And leave it at that. So I hope that was helpful, Shannon. Jonah,
Mhm.
that was awesome, Shannon. That was very vulnerable. Thank you for sharing that. Jonah,
Jay, these calls have been great, man. I'm always telling my team, like, if you're not here, you're missing out. Like, get on these. And I know a lot of my team are going to see the replay, but I'm showing up vulnerably
thank you.
because I'm not trying to, pretend to be something that I'm not. I'm
Perfect.
here to grow, and hopefully inspire others to be willing to look at their own stuff and grow too. So I have two fears. One is speaking on camera on these
Okay.
Zooms. So this is part of my reason for raising my hand
That's
is
good.
it's so funny. Like I have a team. I've been in network marketing for 15 years and I still get shy on camera. And so I'd like to get over that. Particularly, I'm great when I'm leading my team calls, but when it's like an audience like this of people that I don't know, there's I don't know, there's some sort of fear about judgment of my success level. And I have had tremendous success in network marketing in previous companies. So that's number one. Number two is kind of coupled with that is a fear of reaching out to people who are more successful than me financially or previous teammates that I've recruited that have done extremely well. One woman in particular, I won't mention her name, um, just from signing her up, she became a top earner in her country. I made $100,000 just from that one recruit. And so I'm kind of like building up the courage to share, like, oh, I got the new thing. I've got this next business. And I can tell she's kind of been avoiding opening my messages just, of rapport because I'm afraid of like dropping the whole thing on her and then having her say no. In that past example, when I did recruit her in a previous company 7 years ago, 10 minutes before our welcome call, she canceled the call and she said she didn't want to do it. And I said, look, I understand that you don't want to do that. It's totally fine. I really believe if you understood how big this was, there's no way in hell you would be able to say no. And so not accepting her no turned into her building a multiple six-figure business and me profiting six figures just from that. Now I know that I've done that. I'm still afraid to reach out. And even in this past week, I've reached out to seven-figure and eight-figure earners, but I'm still afraid to continue doing it. I find myself procrastinating on my chicken list, reaching out to the people I'm afraid to reach out to. And I think it's because I know I'm going to get some rejection. And so I'm fine with that. But I would really rather not. I'd really rather just have them say, yes, this sounds freaking awesome. Thank you so much for telling me about it. So anything you can share, I'm open.
So Jonah, the first one, you have an amazing energy. It's hard to have good energy on Zoom. I hate Zoom. I would much rather do everything in public, in person, because I can connect with people better. You're a great speaker. I don't think anybody on here would disagree with me. No, not any single person on here would do that. But understand where all that lives. Everything that you're talking about is your ego. And people think ego is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Ego is just, you're afraid people are going to judge you and maybe I say an or an ah or my thoughts don't come out clearly or whatever. Most people, when I say most, 95% of people have a fear of speaking in public, on Zoom, anywhere because they fear being judged, right? And that's because that started all when we were kids, right? And when we were in high school and when we'd read out loud in school and we would have do a presentation or whatever, and cruel kids would make fun of us. And so that's what we remember in our head is that, we got bullied or made fun of or, so all of that is ego. And the fact that you faced it today,
We'll have
just
to
like
turn
I
on the
talked
video
to
on,
her,
take a picture, get it approved. So
hold
we'll do
on.
that stuff in
Who
advance of
who
the
is
scene.
that? Can you guys
Picture
mute
that's
that
looking approved.
person?
Like 30 minutes or so.
Oh, there we go. I got it. So the just you got to just keep facing your fears, Jonah, about those things. You know, the thing that you got to tell yourself over and over and over about this lady that you brought in, you know, because right now you're not as successful as you think you are, that's your thing. It's your thing. Like my wife got recruited by someone that was, making $35,000 a year. And she said yes to her and ended up making this girl $3 million in 2 years because she brought in and built this huge business, right? So we're just one person away. Every single person on here, Chad, the way he's recruiting people, we're one or two people away. Like we don't need someone to build an organization for us. We're one or two people away from a $10,000, $15,000 a week income. One person, right? And so having that conversation and that conviction and talking to people about it. And another way to approach people, Jonah, is asking them, are they open to another opportunity that they could tie into what they're doing currently and not trying to recruit people away from where they're doing now. So the way that I approach people that are in a business right now is, I ask them what they're currently doing and how it's going. Maybe you want to go back to that company, right? I don't know. I'm just, hey, how's it going on over there? Because I'm looking for other opportunities and maybe I could add it to what I'm doing. Like, how do you feel about the company? Or if I don't know them, I'll just reach out to them on social media and I see that they're posting about a direct sales company. I'll reach out and say, hey, I would love to get some more information from you about what you're doing. Instead of sending them a DM and saying, hey, I have an opportunity. I'd like to talk to you about what I'm doing. I'm gonna, build rapport with them and let them tell me about what they're doing. And then when they say, what are you doing? I'm gonna say, well, I'm looking to add something to, have a multiple stream of income. I'm actually in the stem cell business. The company pays really, really well, but I like to, have multiple streams of income just in case something happens. And then I get into a conversation and I'm talking about my opportunity without trying to recruit them. It happens organically in the conversation of me talking to them. And I'm asking them all about what's the comp plan look like? Have they changed the comp? Or, what kind of products? Do you feel good about the products? Like I'm just getting in a conversation with them for them to recruit me. Because that's the mode they're going to go into, right? They're going to try to recruit me. And that's cool because they might. I could do another multi-level company with this company, so maybe I want to listen to that opportunity. But more than likely, probably not, because I know all the opportunities out there. But at least it gets me into the conversation. So, and then the no part, Jonah, you got to, you know what, brother, it's going to happen, man. It's going to happen. It's going to happen probably in your case, 80% of the time, because you've got experience in this business. So it's probably going to be 80% of the time they're going to say no. You just can't focus on the no's because the no in my head always is not right now. Because something might happen with that company and they're going to remember that phone call and they're going to be like, man, what was Jonah working on? Let me call this guy because he said something that he was working on that was really, really great. And so what I do in conversations to take me off the hook of rejection is I meet people where they are, not where I want them to be. Like I would love for everyone to sign up as a brand partner, but shit, if they don't want to be a brand partner, our product is great for everybody to use. So let me get you as a customer, and then they have a transformation in 90 days. And then all of a sudden they're like, dude, this thing is the real deal. Like what? Let's talk about this comp plan. And so what we want as human beings is we want immediate results. We want to sign up brand
Just
partners.
helped me realize that I've been like outcome oriented. Like, yes, they're going to be a brand partner. They're going to recruit this many people by this time, as opposed to having a dialogue, having a conversation, having it be a process. So I just kind of realized part of my fear is, what if they say, oh, I'm burnt out, I have MLM PTSD. And I'm like, oh, but you didn't see this one yet.
Yep.
So I am a little bit attached to that.
And the reaction is just, then if they say that, I'm going immediately to what the device does as a customer. It's $99 a month. It's going to change your life. You want to talk about energy? It's going to give you, so I'll just transition over to it and then I'm going to send them 10. I'm going to send them a sample. I'm just going to give them 10 in the mail, right? What's your address? I'm going to just send them to you. You try it out and tell me what you feel, right? I'm still in the game. I still have a chance of having that conversation. But again, I want to meet them where they are. Because what we try to do is we try to sell and convince people. I don't want to sell or convince anybody. But if you're in my pipeline, then I'm going to follow up with you in 60 days. And in 60 days, I'm not going to follow up with you about the patch. I'm going to follow up with you about your business and the conversation that we had. And then naturally, you're going to say, hey, how's that business going with the stem cell business? Oh my God, Like when I talked to you, I had no idea how amazing it was going to actually be. And then you're ready to kind of put a pitch out there again, but you're not calling with leading into what you're doing. It's always about what they're doing, right? And you're just following up with them, because if you start following up with what you're doing, they're never answering your phone again. And then you're that guy that's always constantly trying to recruit people into the next network marketing company. So I always try to mentally get away from that. And then just, I expect a no from everyone. And when I get a yes, I'm pleasantly surprised. I just expect no from everyone, you know? And so that's just my expectation going into the conversation. And when they're excited about it, I'm like, you know, it's hard to hold it back. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm excited. This is going to be amazing, you know? So just don't fear the rejection, and don't fear, dude, you're a great speaker. You have a great energy on Zoom. Like you are very, very, very good at speaking. And I wouldn't have that fear, and I wouldn't have the fear of rejection. Just expect it. I mean, if you're talking to 100 people, 80 of them are going to say no.
Yeah.
But then there's going to be another 20 down the road that are going to say yes in a couple more months, right? So it's not all yes right now. And we just have become such a society of these immediate, we want these immediate results. And if we don't have immediate results, then we have failed. And I'm telling you, you're not failing. It's just a part of the process.
Yeah. Thanks for opening that up for me. That helps a lot.
Yeah. And thanks for what you said at the beginning. Maya, I think I'm saying that right. I know you, and you're in Hawaii, and I see your flower. I just don't know if I'm saying your name right. Malia, I think. Is it Malia?
It's Malia. Yeah.
Malia. I'm used to Spanish, so usually Spanish would be Maya. So, go ahead, Malia.
Very true. I'm hearing a theme, and really it's my theme, also, which is fear of judgment of others. And, you know, I know that one of these aspects plays in the larger social sphere, which is using social media. I've disappeared off of social media for years, like before COVID. So I understand that I don't have to use the social media for this business. Like the relationships and the conversations one-on-one for me are really where it all is and where that connection is. But I see it in a paralysis, opposite kind of Shannon. You know, with Shannon, it's like, wow, you're being so successful and people don't like it. Just keep going. And I wanted to bring something in, which is the opposite of what happens with me, which is that I get paralyzed and I just retreat and shut down and close. And that has to do with personal experiences that I've had with people in relational ways. And so there's a big fear that activates in me, and it closes me down, and it shuts me down. And so I just wanted to bring that in as another aspect, you know?
Yeah, and I would say, Malia, a lot of people deal with that. And what I would say to that is that, you know, people that have that effect or act like that or have that, you know, Malia, we talked in Dustin about energy. And, you know, we could sense that energy from people very, very quickly. You know, people have good or bad energy. And for me, it's not about me. And I don't care about people like that. It's about them, right? And I just will disassociate or not have a conversation. And a lot of people take it personal. And in my life, you know, a lot of people have, I mean, I say I don't care what people think. I mean, I would love to connect with every single human being on the planet. I just know it's not possible. Everyone's not going to like my message. Everyone's not going to like what I talk about. Like, even though I would love that to be the case, what I've come to terms with is I am going to have certain people that I speak to, and there's going to be certain people that I don't speak to. And that's every single, it doesn't matter if it's the president of the United States, if it's a congressman, if it's a pope, if it's whoever it is, there are going to be people that don't like that individual for some reason or another. And we got to just let that go. And we can't be paralyzed because it's not you, it's them. And if they don't connect with your energy or like your energy, oh, well, you know, like there's plenty
We're
of people.
not for everybody.
Correct.
Right. That's a really good reminder.
We want to be for everyone, right? And we're just not. And so, you know, again, I just think that if you can just be okay with the fact that not everyone is going to love you, even though it's hard because we all want to be loved, then you won't be paralyzed, because either people get it or they don't get it, and I'm going to move on from that. So I hope that's helpful. I mean, you know, because I think the more that we can become okay in our own skin, then we're going to remove our own fears and not worry about that. And let me wrap this up. I want to wrap this up by 3:30 with you guys. So thank you guys so much for sharing those and being so vulnerable. And I think this is my favorite part of this, is being able to give you guys that chance, to be able to do that, and share that and be able to help you with that. Because again, everything that I'm talking about, I've been through, right? I mean, having employees and wanting all my employees, and having 12 employees quit on me at one time, and, could have pointed my fingers and said, that all my employees suck. I had to look in the mirror and say, you know what, this is that maybe I need to look in the mirror, and this is not about my employees. This is about me. So to bring this back full circle, over the past full 6 weeks, I mean, it's been more than 6 weeks. It's been like 12 weeks, but the last 6 times we've seen each other, we've covered a lot. And none of it, I promise you guys, is meant to be motivational fluff, because motivational fluff doesn't last, right? Motivation is temporary. It's like taking a shower every single day. You need motivation daily. What I'm trying to do is help you guys build a foundation, because when you live into a vision, when you act on your values, when you honor your word, and you stop being someone who hopes, right? I use this word hopium like it's a drug. We all have a lot of hopium, but you become someone that actually executes. And that's where greatness lives. When you start executing, when you start not worrying about someone saying no to you, and you just execute, and you get better at the conversation, and you know that it's not no, but it's not right now. And I'm going to follow up with you in 90 days and build more of a relationship, because your life could change in 90 days and you might need another stream of income. You might not like the opportunity that you're in because the company is not treating you right, or they might have cut your comp. Like, that's what we got to think about. It's in what we consistently show up for. You don't rise to the level of your intentions, you guys. You rise or fall to the level of your standards. And that's what I want you guys to self-evaluate. What are my standards? Because they're built on the expectations that you set for yourself. So set them high, and then honor them with the action every single day. Your life will never, ever, ever outgrow your self-discipline. Your relationships, your business, your legacy, they're all going to begin with one decision. So stop expecting from the world and start demanding more from yourself, because you got everything that you need. And now it's just time to live it out every single day. And for the people that spoke on this call today, for the people that put themselves out there, this is your beginning. This is your beginning. Start living the life that you're meant to. All the stuff that's happened in the past, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It was building you to this person that you are. Like, everything happens in life for a reason. Every person that I meet, everything that happens, you guys coming to Destin, being on these calls, like, there's something in this for everybody, I hope. And now it's just time to start living out the life that you deserve, and making the decision to become the person that is there, but you're afraid is going to offend someone. You're afraid that someone's going to judge you because I'm doing this business now, or I'm spending this time on this. Don't live your life for any other person. When you start living for you, that's when you're going to attract the best things in your life. So guys, thank you for the time today. I know it was an hour and a half, but like, when people start talking, this is what this is all about. And I wanted to hear from all of you about, what's going on in your life, so that I can help you work through it. Because I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of experience coaching people and dealing with, things that are in our head, and these issues that aren't real. There are real fears out there, psychologically, driving, flying, all of that stuff. I know those exist, but all I would tell you, the best thing to do, I have a fear of water. I bought a boat that I was on every single weekend. Like, no one knew that I feared water. Why in the hell, if you feared water, would you buy a boat? Because I want to face my fears. And so face your fears, you guys. When you face your fears, I promise you, you're going to be like, whoa, I was scared for nothing. I was scared for nothing. I wasted all of this energy worried about something that was never going to happen. And so the next class that we have is in 2 weeks. It's going to be our last one. We're going to wrap up everything. I'm going to give you guys some tools that you guys can use on a daily basis, some questions you guys can ask. It's the same time. I think, yeah, it's going to be the same time, because I'm coming back from Utah and we don't have a meeting, I don't think, until the end of the month. So same time, 2 o'clock. We'll see you guys on there. And just like Jonah said, share this with your team, you guys. I mean, we don't have to keep this stuff a secret. If you think it's going to help somebody on your team, share it with your team, and let's spread the word, and let's get people's minds going in the right direction. Let's remove the fears from them. Let's get them out of the victim mentality. Let's them having expectations and removing that kind of stuff in life. All the stuff that we've talked about. Let's share this knowledge and help other people. So thank you guys again for jumping on here. Thank you, Maria, for hanging on here for an extra 30 minutes. I am very, very appreciative of you. Thank you so much. Have a great day, you guys, and we'll see you soon.